What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk about what the best strategy is for starting a coach, or what coach you should use within Dynasty mode within College Football 26. I've seen a lot of people throwing out different theories and different combos of different abilities that you're going to want to have with your coach and whatnot, and I'm here to tell you that a lot of what they're putting out there is actually bogus. I have heard so many people this year talk about always create your own coach, always start from level 0, this, that, and the other thing, and that is just simply not the case, and I'm going to run you through why you should probably not be doing that 9 times out of 10. And let's go ahead and start here with a base level coach and talk a little bit about why that is and why that's going to complicate things for you. Sure, if you are an absolute madman and a genius as far as getting the correct combos, being able to min-max everything, and winning every game that you need to, then you will be able to unlock some of the abilities that will get you some crazy combos within Dynasty mode. But number one, if you're playing with other people, you're not going to be able to do this because you're going to be losing games occasionally, unless you are by far the best person within your group of people that are playing. And on top of that, this is a very expensive method this year. It is not as easy to come away with a solid strategy. So let's talk first about some of the purchase prices of the different abilities and the unlock prices for these coaching abilities. Right now, I have 110 coaching points in week 1 of a brand new dynasty. And sure, certain dynasties might start on higher XP for your coaches. And if that is the case, it might be a little bit more viable to create your own coach. But I would even argue that having high coach XP on makes it more viable to select an existing coach, because a higher level coach that would normally take a long time to upgrade is going to actually upgrade pretty quickly, and you're going to get some pretty OP abilities, and I'll show you that in a moment. What I want to talk about first and foremost is the recruiter traits, because this is basically what the strategy was last year, was to get to level 3 of all of the first tier of abilities here, and it would allow you to get those additional influence bonuses. Well, the recruiting actions having a bigger impact is now tier 3 of these second line of recruiter traits. So going through the first line of recruiter traits, you're going to get quarterbacks take less time to fully scout. Trust me, honestly, not that important. And if you're starting as a good team, generally speaking, you're not going to care too much. You're just going to be getting players right off the rip. You'll have a lot of points to scout in the preseason, and you're going to come away with having scouted most of the players you need to scout to begin with. So this is kind of a useless trait. If you use it for a lower end school and you have less recruiting hours, you're almost never going to be able to scout to begin with. So I've heard some people throw out that this is actually a really good trait. And I mean, I guess if you're, really prone to scouting players all the time, but 9 times out of 10, I've scouted most of my recruiting class with a good school before the recruiting season has even started. So I don't see a ton of value in this. Increased starting interest from that position can be helpful. Of course, that is very useful, and that can combine well with some other things. Transfers are more interested. Take it or leave it. You're either going to have access to transfers or you're not going to have access to transfers based on your school's ratings and whether your team is meeting their demands or not. And if you have access to them and you know what you're doing, you're probably going to be able to get those transfer players that you want regardless. So not that important of ability. And then you're going to have the increased chance to sway players at that position. We've discussed how swaying is not an advantageous strategy 9 times out of 10 because it takes longer and is a big risk. And you can really just come away with all the prospects that you want or need without ever having to sway anybody. So everything in tier 1 or layer 1 of the recruiter archetype is pretty much useless. Getting to the second layer requires you to sign 2 top 5 recruiting classes and spend 50 points here. So you're going to have to spend 50 points that, in my opinion, are going to be wasted in the first level of these traits in order to unlock the second level. And you're going to have to wait a minimum of 2 years because you're going to have to come away with 2 top 5 recruiting classes. For 90% of the schools in this game, that's impossible for you to do. And so, again, it's going to take you forever with most of the schools within this game to even get access to this second level where you would be able to boost ideal pitch grades. Your school grades have a larger impact, and recruiting actions have a bigger impact on your QB. It's going to take 36 points to then get to that tier 3 that was giving us our bonus for our strategy last year, that is allowing your recruiting actions to have a bigger impact. So already we're taking a massive amount of time and effort to have really any impact on recruiting whatsoever through the recruiter archetype. If you wanted to expand and unlock something like tactician and motivator and cross over between those things and then be able to potentially unlock something like architect, you're going to have to spend an absolute ton of points. So again, in order to unlock architect, you're going to have to win 4 rivalry games, which again, at a minimum, is going to take you 2 seasons. A lot of teams in this game don't even have 2 rivalry opponents, and if your dynasty isn't running protected opponents, you might not even get all of your rivals on your schedule to begin with. Rivals in this game count as dedicated rivalry games, games that have trophies and names to them. Those games don't pop up for every single team that often. This isn't going to be something that is super easy to unlock. And on top of that, you have to spend 50 in motivator and 50 in tactician. Tactician is really solid, don't get me wrong, but you have to spend 20 to unlock that as a base. You have to spend 20 to purchase motivator as a base. You have to have a minimum coach level of 10 in order to unlock this. So again, more and more and more delays and more investments in order to just simply get these base level traits on top of, an already somewhat useless recruiter archetype. So, okay, so maybe you start with motivator, or maybe you start with tactician. Okay, but then you still have, these aren't the biggest impact in the world. And in order to get the ones that you're going to really care about, which would be things like architect or something like strategist, you're going to have to do those things over multiple seasons, like winning 4 bowl games, which is potentially going to take you multiple years, spending 50 in tactician and 50 in recruiter. The expense is just absolutely ludicrous for these to have that much of a benefit. And what I want to show you against that is why you should always consider the existing coach for whatever team you're starting a dynasty with. Now, I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but a lot of the teams in this game are going to have really good starting coaches, and I'm going to show you 2 of them right now that are going to start you off in a really good spot. I've spent my 100 coaching points pre-order bonus on this coach already, so he is going to be slightly upgraded from where he was. But coming in, my coach for UCLA is coming in with some awesome abilities already unlocked. He comes in at a base with Master Motivator, Architect, and Tactician all unlocked already. He already had some of these points invested into Master Motivator, which is going to get you increased XP gains. It's going to get you less likely to transfer, recover from wear and tear. And then he's also going to have a couple of decent traits unlocked here within Tactician, but that's not the important part. What he has unlocked for me as a base in week 4 or 5, whatever it was of this season, is a whole bunch of stuff invested into Architect, which if you take a look at tier 3 of Architect, you get a chance to increase a random skill cap whenever leveling up for that position. You get a chance to increase your best skill cap with a conference or national title. You get additional XP for in-game goals. You get an XP bonus for every 3-game winning streak. That is by far and away better than anything that you could ever accomplish within year 1 or year 2 of a base level coach. Now, over time, over 5, 6 seasons, maybe you'll see the benefit, but I could have spent my initial pre-order bonus for my coach, my 100 points, or any points that I get in year 1 on the recruiter archetype, and I can still just go ahead and buy the same things. Now, yeah, at level 29, my coach is going to take a little bit longer to level up. So that's the trade-off. It's going to take you a little bit longer to fill in the gaps and whatnot. But realistically speaking, I'm starting off with everything I already need in order to start to build a really good team. Is it perfect? No, but some situations are perfect, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. And a school like LSU is exactly the reason why nobody should be heeding the advice of always create your own coach. Yeah, there's going to be situations where creating your own coach is a solid idea. It can be advantageous for you. You can try to strategize certain things. But when you take a look at Brian Kelly, who has already leveled up for me in this dynasty, he comes in with a whole bunch of recruiter traits. He comes in with talent developer, program builder, and master motivator. Whenever we take a look at his elite recruiter traits, he already comes in with a lot of the good bonuses that we wanted in the second level of the recruiter archetype. In addition to that, he's coming in with things like talent developer unlocked. I can invest points into this to help with bonus XP and those types of things. I've already invested quite a bit into program builder, and I'll show you exactly why, where we can boost our pipelines by a tier, where you can boost our primary pipeline, you can boost interest in your primary pipeline, you can boost your bottom pipeline, and all types of really important things that are going to help you get a crazy advantage in recruiting. And this is a multi-user dynasty. We have a decent number of points invested into master motivator, and so it wouldn't be too hard for me to go ahead and get something like architect or tactician or whatever I need to do whenever I do start leveling up, because again, they are leveling up. But what I want to show you is starting out of the gate, what advantage I get with LSU in a multi-user dynasty in my recruiting class. We're in early to mid-season here. I've already locked 5 5-star recruits, 12 4-star recruits, and if you take a look at the overall prospect list, the recruits that I was actually able to get are going to be some of the best ones in the entire country. Recruit number 1, number 5, number 8. I was considering getting number 9 here, but I messed up. I lost my game on the week that I had a visit with him, so I've abandoned the hope of getting him. That was a me mistake, but I probably would have been getting number 9 if I played things appropriately as well. We're looking at number 22, number 24, number 25, prospect number 29. At one point we were looking at prospect number 26, but again, same thing. I messed up with losing a game in the week that he was visiting, so I'm not going to be able to get him. And I'm leading on multiple other 5-star and 4-star prospects, and I'm going to come away with an absolutely monstrous recruiting class simply because of those pipeline boosts and things that Brian Kelly already has unlocked as a head coach within this game. And so I would never recommend somebody come into LSU and create their own coach when you have access, or if you have the option to be somebody like Brian Kelly that has these absolutely ridiculous abilities already on their coach, like being able to upgrade your school's best 2 pipelines by a tier, your school's 5 best pipelines by 1 tier, and upgrade your school's 5 worst pipelines by 1 tier. That's absolutely bonkers. And so again, like I've reiterated multiple times in this video, there are certain situations and it can be advantageous for you to create your own coach, but good luck with a created coach getting up to talent developer early, getting up to program builder early, getting things that are going to get you classes that are as good as this one with LSU, where you're getting the best prospects in the league. I guarantee you that if you came in with a level 0 or level 1 coach with LSU, there's no way you would be securing that good of a class. You'd still get a good class because they have good pipelines and those types of things, but you would be struggling with a lot of those prospects that I was going after, because you're not going to have the same boosts that Brian Kelly already does as a head coach. Not to mention, once I earn points, and if I wanted to open up the other archetypes for this head coach, he already comes in with the ability to unlock certain ones, like strategist, win 4 bowl games, because he has won 4 bowl games. I would be able to unlock architect because he's won 4 rivalry games already. I spent a ton of points here in the program builder trait to upgrade some of these because I wanted to play around with them, and they turned out to be absolutely phenomenal. If I didn't spend my 100 plus points that I've earned at this point, I could have easily unlocked tactician. I could have potentially unlocked architect at this point. I actually would have been able to unlock both of these and potentially start investing points into them. Maybe I would have unlocked strategist, who knows, but I would have been able to go out there and do a bunch of different things with this head coach and still have some of the bonuses that you would never be able to achieve early on in a dynasty with a custom created coach. Personally speaking, if I was to recommend that you do a created coach strategy, I would recommend with most of the schools within the game that you prioritize going towards architect because it is more attainable. Now you're going to want to make sure that your commissioner is putting on 2 rivalry games for you and things like that so you can get it quicker. But being able to get some of the tactician traits and the motivator traits are going to be fantastic for growing your team and playing and punching above your weight class. And then getting into the XP bonuses and the increasing of skill cap capabilities that you can get with architect, that is going to be one of your best way to build most teams within this game because trust me, I realize most of you guys aren't going out here and playing as LSU. You might not even be playing as a UCLA caliber team. You might be playing as a Wyoming or a Colorado State or a Hawaii or something like that, where you start with basically nothing. And the only way to be able to do well with those teams in the long run is to be able to punch above your weight class. And that is in a lot of different facets, and especially player development. You're going to have to lean on some 3-star players with schools like that. You'll probably be able to come away with some 4 stars, especially over time and whatnot. But you're going to have to lean on players that have a lot of skill caps, and having the ability to develop those players, removing skill caps and those types of things will be really helpful to you with 90% of the teams within this game. So that's all I had for you guys in today's video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I know that we'll get some people that disagree. I know we'll get some people that agree. Like I said, I've seen a bunch of different videos out there talking about this, and I agree there are certain strategies that can be beneficial, and it totally depends on what your coach's XP setting is set to in your dynasty. It totally depends on how many other users you have in your dynasty, or if you are playing solo. I'm not saying that you should never create your own coach. I'm simply saying that the people that are out there saying that you should always create your own coach are incorrect, because there are a lot of times where using an existing coach is going to be extremely beneficial, especially with other users in your dynasty mode. But like I said, with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Please leave a like on this video if you appreciate these types of discussion videos and these informative topics. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new around here, or if you have not already subscribed. As always, I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a good one.